Well, Razorback fans, reports say that you have hired a new GM of your program. Kind of. What does this mean? Well, let's talk about in today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by TurboTax. Ready for stress-free taxes and the most money back guaranteed? Head over to TurboTax.com today and get matched with your expert. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday. I apologize. Yesterday, I was kind of stupid, and I guess I scheduled the podcast on YouTube to go out the next day. So it didn't go out until late morning. So I apologize about that. Sometimes I can be stupid like that, or at least YouTube can be. But either way, it doesn't matter. But appreciate those letting me know, as at least lets me know that you guys are listening and you guys care about the timing and structure and schedule of everything. But either way, we'll talk a few things. We'll get into some basketball with Arkansas starting up the SEC tournament today, as well as some news, significant news in the women's basketball team here in just a little bit. But I wanted to start with the reports that have come out, at least at this point in time of the recording of this podcast. Reports of Arkansas hiring a new general manager. It's weird. Arkansas, a college with a general manager. That's what it is. Because according to John Rothstein, who is in the know on pretty much everything when it comes to college basketball for CBS Sports, he reports that Remy Cofield, who is the Boston Celtics director of scouting, as well as the Maine Celtics general manager, is leaving that position to become the general manager here at Arkansas. He played a role, according to reports, of putting the roster together that won the world championship. He's also with the Maine Celtics, it's the G League affiliate. And he's also done a lot of things when it comes to trades, when it comes to staff hires, scouting, all those things. Done a lot with it. And he's just kind of been the jack of all trade when it comes to there at the Celtics and doing a lot of things, and has worked his way up. And it looks like, at least again, according to reports, he's going to be taking the role as the general manager. Now, there's a lot of things that can be taken from this, folks. And I'm going to try to answer any sort of questions that you may be asking theoretically about this and try to give my best bet on it. Because I want to start with, first off, there's a lot of things about the general manager position that may not be known. We have an idea of what it's going to be. We have an idea of what the purpose of it is. But as far as the day-to-day operations, as far as who's going to be a great one, who's not going to be a great one, as far as what it looks like, anything like that, it's still up in the air. It's still things that we got to wait and figure out on. That being said, assuming that this report is true, I like the idea that they're going for. I like the idea that they got a guy who has obviously done a lot of scouting, a lot of managing, a lot of dealing with talent evaluations and dealing with players and whatnot, seeing the value, seeing the worth of what some athletes are at. Like I appreciate the idea of what this particular guy in Cofield is going to represent. The only question I have, and I'll probably be answered here soon, hopefully, is one, is he going to be just basketball? Or two, is he going to be the entire athletic department? Now, some may believe that it's going to be the entire athletic department, which, if that's the case, then okay. However, 450 student athletes is a lot. There's no general manager of any level that has to manage that many players, that many athletes. And so I kind of hope that it's not him just having to go out there and deal with all 450 of them. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that he's going to be dealing with basketball, maybe a few other sports, but focusing mainly on basketball because of his background and everything. And it also makes me wonder, is this somebody that Arkansas would have hired anyways? Or did John Calipari have a hand in this? I have a feeling John Calipari had a hand in this. I had a feeling that if you're going to attract some of the greatest players and get them to your school, and especially when it comes to the new era of NIL and what would be revenue sharing and everything, you want to have somebody that's been in the mix when it comes to high-level NBA, which, without question, Remy Cofield is that guy. Again, the Celtics, I'm not just saying this because I do root for them. I'm not going to say I'm a fan, but I do root for them. They are a very well-ran organization. They obviously just won the NBA title. They've played in NBA titles. They've drafted really well. They've made good trades. They made good coaching hires. I mean, they've done a lot of great things. And so to get somebody who's a part of that organization and had a hand in it, I think is nothing but a positive. But again, that's just for the basketball side of things. And I'm okay with that too. Because listen, and everyone's wondering about Nate Ament and if he's going to be coming to Arkansas, one of the highest ranked players, if not the highest ranked player, that's uncommitted at this point in time for the 2025 class. You'd be hard pressed to really find somebody that could help with players like that, because all these players want to get to the NBA. They want to be scouted. They want to know what their value is at, want to know what they look like. So who better than to have somebody with this type of experience? So this just makes, in my opinion, the basketball program that much better. I don't know how much help they needed in getting big-time recruits, but if this is somebody that can have the expertise that Arkansas has been looking for and that the program's been looking for and that Cal actually wants, then it's going to be nothing but a benefit. But then it becomes okay, well, if it's just basketball, what about football? What about baseball? What about these other sports? Well, all we know about the general manager role leading up to this point, and again, because this is still not official at the time of this recording, this is just being reported by John Rothstein. I don't know why he would make something up like that. I don't know why he would have, a report out there. Because some people are saying, does he have a lot of sources inside of Arkansas? And the answer is I don't know, maybe. But odds are this is something that came from Boston, came from the Celtics, came from his camp of why it's being reported. But if he's going to do that, and if he's going to do basketball, does this, with what we knew about the general manager role from Sam Pittman, at least on the football side of things, is that he was wanting to hire somebody by late March, maybe early April. Is this the guy? Is this the guy that's being referenced? We will see. I believe you should have different general managers for different sports, particularly football and basketball. Football and basketball, both monstrous deals, big-time programs here at Arkansas, the people that care about it. And given the circumstances of what you have with Cal, if you're going to have the Cal impact and the Cal aura and the NIL money and the amount of talent you're going to have, you need the best of the best. You need to have somebody where you can spare no expense on anything, facilities, on recovery, on training, on staff, on anything. You have to have 100% the best of the best that you can finally find. But if they're going to go in a different direction in football, I'm wondering who that's going to be. And two, let's just say, for instance, that it ends up being this guy where he does both football and basketball. How does that make us feel? How does that make everything work? Well, let's remember, folks, the role of the general manager here, or at least from my understanding, what the general manager role is, they are supposed to be people who deal with the agents, deal with the representation of these players and these student athletes who are needing more money or coming to ask for more money. They negotiate, they deal with them, but they also decide how much they're worth, what their value is. Because if it's Sam Pittman coming in and say, hey, we 100% need this player, and then the guy's like, well, here's what I think his value is at, but we don't need to go any higher than that. Pittman says, okay, well, go offer it and figure it out. Like, that's what it needs to be. Pittman doesn't need to deal with it. Cal doesn't need to deal with it. You need to have a general manager to deal with it. And this is where I've voiced my frustrations on why it's taken so long to have one of these. It's because you just feel like you're behind the eight ball a little bit. Now, Remy Cofield, I think he'll do a great job, just all things considered, as long as he's set up for success, as long as he's set up for people to help him out when it comes to money and fame and fortune and all that. But they have to be able to have organized belief and also a budget to deal with. And also on somebody who understands that at a place like Arkansas, are you going to be able to compensate for the extra NIL money? And what I mean by that is that if you're dealing with, say, in football, a player who has an offer to Georgia, have an offer to LSU, has an offer to Bama, and you're trying to get him, well, you're going to have to overcompensate in order to have a chance at that player. It's just the reality. They may be offered $1 million at those other three schools, but for you to have a chance at Arkansas, you got to offer $1.5 million, just because of the other benefits that come along with it. That's a reality. Is he going to be set up for that success to make that work? Is he going to be set up to put it together and have a plan and deal with the representations and the agents of these guys and be forthcoming and also be a dog, essentially? You got to be a bulldog in there and be aggressive and get it done when it needs to be done. Is he going to be set up for success? That's the ultimate question. But a question that will never be answered, folks, is why is it taking so long? I don't know why. I don't know what is going to be like the first order of business. I don't even know what impact that Remy's going to have off the cuff, like just immediately. I don't know. But the point is that you need a general manager. You have needed a general manager. You may not like it. You may not like the way that college sports is going, but this is something that had to happen. And so hopefully they set him up for success like other things have been set up for success. We will find out here soon just how successful that they've been set up for. But reports say you got you a general manager. You got you a guy that has experience, has talent evaluations, have all the good stuff. Now we just see what he does with it. Once they make it official, I'm sure there'll be a press conference or something like that, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll get to more here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast and talk a little bit about Arkansas and South Carolina today at noon. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, I am here to tell you about our friends over at Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were going to get any money back. And then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now Taxes is matching with TurboTax Expert, who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find every deduction possible, file every form, every investment, and everything you need with 100% accuracy. All so you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is Taxes. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax full live service. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guarantee details for TurboTax.com/guarantees. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So you have an SEC tournament game starting up today, folks. How exciting. You're a 9 seed. You're taking on South Carolina, who's the 16 seed. Worst team in the conference. South Carolina has 2 wins, and you're one of them. We deleted that game, though. It doesn't exist. But you're one of them. I think the line, Adam, is Arkansas favored by 2.5 at this point. And some of you maybe took issue with some of the things I was saying when it came to the SEC tournament and about the importance or whether you need to win it or what needs to be the approach or whatever. You can word it however you want. But here's my thing. Is like today would be a time that it would be really nice if you just went out and won. Because as the injury report came out, you have Boogie, Fland, and Adou, Thiero out. They're not playing. There's not maybe a possibility of it. They're done. They're not playing in this game. So that's officially on the injury report. So what do you need to do? How do you need to take care of business? What do you need to approach it as? If you're Arkansas, how do you handle it? Well, my thing is I'm hoping there's some motivation from the team themselves for the way they got embarrassed there in Columbia. I mean, just absolutely embarrassed. I think it was a 19-point loss. And the only reason it wasn't a 22-point loss is because DJ Wagner hit a 3 at the end of the game. It didn't matter. But it was blowout city. You couldn't make anything. You looked like a team that was completely and totally out of it. And if you watch that Vice documentary, which I really appreciate and enjoyed the latest episode, if you watch that Vice documentary, you saw exactly how Cal just approaches like, these games happen, it sucks, delete it, and let's move on. Simple as that. If you need a painful reminder, Arkansas shot 29% from the field, shot 13% from three-point land, 74% from the free throw line, had 13 turnovers, and committed 17 fouls. Yeah, that wasn't going to get it done. Wasn't going to get it done at all. Jonas Adou had a double-double, which was funny. Carter Knox had 11 points. But the point is, you weren't good. But that was more of an anomaly. That was more of the exception than it was the rule. And I want you to prove that today. Will this win over South Carolina bust you right into the NCAA tournament and add just a couple numbers on your seed? Probably not. Is anybody going to be like, whoa, this Arkansas team, watch out. They beat South Carolina. Get ready. No. All it'll do for me is just make me feel better because you at least can say that it was not South Carolina that was just better than you, or it was not just you not caring or whatever. It was just one of those games because the next time you played them, just a couple weeks later, you beat them like you should have. But it also proves to me that this whole idea of Cal and not like wanting to win in the SEC tournament, which is just a bunch of malarkey. Yes, I said malarkey. All of that just goes by the wayside completely if you just take care of business in this game. People would think that John Calipari doesn't want to win in the SEC tournament because they took his words out of context. We talked a little bit about it yesterday of when it was about meaningless tournament. It's like it doesn't matter because they're preparing for the NCAA tournament. If that was the case, he would just play all the walk-ons if he didn't want to win. Like, what would be even the point? If he didn't want to win, what's the point of playing any of these guys? They're going to play. They're going to do their thing. They're trying to get ready for the NCAA tournament. And that's that. So do it against South Carolina. I want to see an aggression. I want to see from the jump, you are the better team. I want to see you motivated because of what happened the last time you played this team. I want to see everybody getting involved. I want to see Trevin Brazile continuing to build on what he's been doing. I want to see Jonas Adou continue to be the Jonas Adou that we have seen over the past few games, a defensive prowess, a guy who can get a double-double. I want to see that. I want to see Nelly Davis going out there and getting his 18 points, hitting the 2 or 3 threes. I want to see that. I want to see Big Z hitting his threes, getting his shots going. I want to see DJ Wagner dishing it out. And a lot of people forget he's shooting like 44% from 3 over the past 5 games, something like that. So like he's doing great in the shooting, but I want to see all that. I want to see you continue to do and continue to look like the team we have seen over the past few games. Give me some ability to have some hope, have some inspiration, to feel good about you in the NCAA tournament because of how you performed against the worst team in the SEC tournament. Do that. And afterwards, you got Ole Miss if you win this game. Yeah, sure, you got to like to win. But if you don't, that's okay too. You got to get ready. You got to get healthy. You got to get all of that before the NCAA tournament. Take care of business in this one for me. Do not lose to the worst team in the SEC twice in a season. Twice in 2 weeks. Do not do that. That's all I'm asking. Win this game. Look good doing it. Move on. And then let's get ready for the NCAA tournament. It's not too much to ask, right? I'm sure it'll go perfectly well. But we got to talk about this. There's been a coaching change in the Razorback athletic department. Not surprising, but significant. We'll talk about that and more, so stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, all you Razorback fans out there, you're looking to optimize your nutrition this year? Well, Factor makes eating easy when it comes to eating well with their chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences every week, you can customize your meals to fit your lifestyle, whether it's Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Plus, even Factor offers wholesome smoothies as well as breakfasts and grab-and-go snacks to keep you fueled all day long. I love how Factor takes the stress out of meal planning. I mean, that's the thing I like about it. I'm big on the protein meals because, I like to go and work out at the gym because obviously I want to have a body like a Greek god. At least I try. But still, the reason I have to go to the gym and stuff is because sometimes I don't eat as well. But luckily, with a place like Factor, they take care of that, where they have great flavor, packed with protein, and get me where I need to be. The convenience is unbeatable. No prep, no mess, just great food in minutes. Eat smart with Factor. Get allfactormeals.com/LockedOnCollege 50 off, 50 off, and use code LockedOnCollege 50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code LockedOnCollege 50 off at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege 50 off to get 50% off free shipping with your first box. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. This is something that's not surprising, and honestly, I was waiting to see when it was actually going to happen, but the news broke yesterday that the head coach of the women's basketball team, the Ladybacks, I know that they don't use that term anymore, but I'm going to keep using it because it's awesome. But the Ladybacks and their head coach, Mike Neighbors, officially stepped down from his role. He resigned his position after 8 seasons and the 12th overall as a D1 coach. He went on to say, let me do this. He's had 148 wins, 114 losses. He had 6 winning seasons and positioned them for 6 postseason appearances. He says, quote, "As I shared in my introductory press conference on April 4th, 2017, the opportunity to coach the Hogs fulfilled a lifelong dream. I always acknowledged there could be a time where that dream would end, and until then, I pledged to do my best to make my family, my team, and my home state of Arkansas proud. One day would have been an honor, yet I've had the privilege of leading our program for 2,898 days. I'm appreciative of all the administrators, staff, student athletes, managers, practice players, spirit squad members, the Hog Wild Band, table crew, ushers, UAPD, facility staff, radio and TV talent, boosters, and fans for the support and the commitment to Arkansas women's basketball over the last 8 seasons. We have our heads held high and enough memories to last a lifetime." Now, this is interesting because he's stepping down. It's not him being fired, but I think everyone can see the writing on the wall. And Yurchek gave a statement, which is pretty, nothing really stood out from it. And they're just basically wishing him the best. But here's the thing, and I'm going to be honest about this. I really, really liked Mike Neighbors. And it's not just because of the last name. We spell it different. Mike Neighbors was exactly the type of coach that you want to be at Arkansas, and no matter the sport, where they have energy, they have fun, they are someone who seems to be successful and seems to have everything in a row and had success previously. But most importantly, he was someone that just truly loved the Razorbacks. It was his favorite team. It was like me or you. He's from Greenwood. That's his thing, is Razorbacks. And he loved them. He loved all the sports. I had the opportunity to hang out with him a few times, and it was awesome. He was so kind, and he was so approachable and everything. But it's a performance-based business. And so saying all that, I understand the decision. I understand that you gotta win. And I respect that decision. But I just hate it for him because I felt like he's someone that I was really hoping could be successful. If Arkansas was going to win a women's basketball national championship, I'd want Mike Neighbors holding the trophy to do it. That's the type of guy he is. And I wish him nothing but the best. I really hope that he ends up finding something that he enjoys and loves and all of that. But, it's, again, performance-based business. And I've had people come up to me and like, "So who do you think they're going to hire?" And man, come on. I can barely keep up with coaching here in the state of Arkansas in general when it comes to football and basketball. I have no idea who the Razorback women's basketball team's targeting. I have no idea who the Ladybacks are targeting. I've made the joke of, "Hey, just go get Gino Oriana." And everyone's like, "Oh, okay, relax, buddy." It's like, it's a joke. Chill. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But the thing is that you got to be set up for success. And I'm not saying that this is what led to Mike Neighbors' demise at Arkansas, but you got to set up for successes, and you got to have NIL. You got to have support. You got to have the means to succeed. And I think that there was times when Mike Neighbors had really good classes come in. He had really good players, but the problem was they all left. So whoever comes in here is going to have to understand that, and also Yurchek's going to have to make sure he does this of supporting that program and supporting them in the right way. And so that's going to be big. But again, I wish Mike Neighbors nothing but the best. Class act all around. And I know we don't talk a lot about women's basketball as much, except when they're succeeding, or in this case, when they're doing a coaching change. But It is something that, it does matter, and Arkansas needs to be better than what they have been, plain and simple. Because that's the one that my knock against him is that he didn't win an NCAA tournament game, which is crazy. It's crazy to think about. But hopefully they get somebody good. Hopefully they make it all work out, and hopefully Mike Neighbors finds something and has great success in doing it. That's all I'm going to say. Appreciate each and every one of you listening and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Neighbors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. Keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. See you then.